What's going on, everybody? Here we are. It's another week at the Home Theater Hobbyist, and this week we have our review of a 4K UHD Blu-ray player. It's the Sony UBP-X700. So let's get to it. Before we begin, I'd like to thank you all for your support of the Home Theater Hobbyist channel. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you'll be aware when we upload new content. Also, if you want to support the channel, look in the description below. You'll find our Patreon link, Amazon link, and a link to our merchandise store. Now, let's move on to the review. So here it is. This is the Sony UBP-X700. It's a 4K UHD Blu-ray player from Sony. And basically what that means is it allows you to play these bad boys, 4K UHD disc, shiny disc. That's right. They actually still sell discs that you can put in a player and play them and watch them on your television. The main highlights of this particular player are the 4K resolution and HDR format support. It supports HDR10 and Dolby Vision. This particular player is about the cheapest point of entry to get Dolby Vision in a disc-based player. It also has audio support for various audio formats, and you can play CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, Super Audio CDs, and of course 4K UHD disc. Because it has Wi-Fi support, it includes apps such as Netflix 4K, YouTube 4K, and Amazon Prime 4K, along with other apps like Hulu, Crackle, Spotify, and many others. Let's talk setup. The first thing you want to do is, of course, take it out of the box, and then you want to plug in your included power cable and your HDMI cable from this box to your TV, AV receiver, or soundbar. Now make sure your HDMI cable is at least 18 gigabytes per second. That way you get 4K UHD and you also get HDR support. Once that's complete, you can turn your player on and either join your Wi-Fi network, or you can also connect your Ethernet adapter. Download updates, install them, and you're ready to go. Moving on to design, the player's design is pretty good. It's relatively small and light. It is about 12.5 inches wide by 8.25 inches deep and 1.75 inches tall. It has a black gloss finish along the front with black metal casing around the sides and the back. Along the front panel, you have two buttons. On the far right, power, and next to it, an eject button. Below that, you have a USB port that you can plug in your files so you can listen to audio and things like that. And you also have your disc tray right here on the left-hand side. You have your door that drops down and your disc tray slides out. Along the rear, you have about 5 connections. You have your power connection, an Ethernet adapter, 2 HDMI ports, and a digital audio out port. I like the fact that Sony gives us 2 HDMI ports. The first is for audio and video, while the second is for AV receivers that don't support 4K. This means you can connect your 4K TV to HDMI 1, while your non-4K AV receiver will be connected to HDMI 2, and you can get audio through there. In the menu system, you specify which HDMI port you're using. The overall chassis design is okay, but there are definitely better built players out there. Now let's talk about the remote. It is all plastic and it fits really well in the hand. There's an indentation along the back that allows your finger to rest naturally back there with your thumb on the D-pad. My main issue is not with the remote ergonomics, but with the button layout itself. Play, pause, fast forward, rewind need to be moved up so they're located just below the D-pad in the position where home is located now. The remote is not backlit, so when watching a movie in the dark, the main buttons you need are hard to find. I selected home on more than one occasion when I wanted to pause the movie instead. The play button does have a dot on the top to help orientation, but is so far down on the remote that it is hard to find. Now, the next few categories we're going to talk about, we're going to rate from 1 to 5. 1 being the worst and 5 being the absolute best. The first category we're going to start with is user interface. The user interface is functional, but it's not pretty, so I give it a 3. It works well, but it could use a little bit of sprucing up. This includes the settings menu. It works well, but it could use a little sprucing up. Also, your user manual, keep that with you. When you're going through the settings menu, some of the settings aren't well defined, so you'll have to refer to the user menu to really understand what they mean. Next, we'll talk performance, and I give this category a 4.5 out of 5. 4K discs look great. You get Dolby Vision, you get HDR10, all the major formats that are out there now, and they look superb. I really like them. Blu-ray content also looks really good. This player gives you the ability to upscale content to 4K, so you can do that as well. I don't do it, but you can do it. DVD content looks as good as DVD content can look on a TV like this, and you can upscale it to 4K as well, but I wouldn't recommend it. Disc loading times are also pretty good. From hitting the close button on the disc tray to seeing a menu was approximately 30 to 35 seconds, while the Netflix menu was up approximately 7 seconds from the time I hit the button. I didn't give this category a total 5 because the upscaler probably could be a little bit better, but honestly I'm not really trying to upscale DVD content to 4K, so that's why I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 instead of a total 5. Honestly, I think it should really be a 5. Moving on to value, I give this a 4. This is probably one of the cheapest players you can buy that will play Dolby Vision content. But the build quality isn't like superb, and honestly the price could even be a little bit cheaper. So I think this is a 4 out of 5. Overall, I recommend this player if you want a UHD player that does Dolby Vision, has fast load times, and you aren't overly concerned about build quality. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. Consider supporting us at patreon.com/hometheaterhobby. Purchase this Blu-ray player using that Amazon link below, and also buy a t-shirt at our store. We'll talk to you next time.